The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining us this morning or this afternoon if you're in New Zealand. My name's Rhiannon Chamberlain, I'm the Admin and Communications Manager for ACTS, and I'll be monitoring the questions throughout today's webinar. So just a few notes to get started. All of the attendees are in listen-only mode, your microphones are muted. You do have the opportunity to ask questions, so there's two ways you can do that. You can either type your question directly into the question bar in the control panel, or during the designated Q&A times, you can raise your hand clicking on the little hand icon, and then if you have a microphone, you can ask the question directly to our presenters. So the session will be recorded today and available online after the fact, so you can refer that on to additional colleagues or go back to the webinar if you like. And all of our presenter contact details will be available at the end of the webinar if you would like to get any further information, or if we don't get time to answer your question in the session today. So I think that's all on housekeeping. I'll now introduce Ed Ma, who is the Manager of CSU Green at Charles Sturt University and also our Vice President of Programs for ACTS.
Thanks, Rhi. Hi everyone, and welcome to what is the first webinar that ACTS is running for 2015. Thanks for your time, and we look forward to be able to share some good information with you about both the LiFE index and the ecoPortal tool that will assist with that. In terms of just a little bit of background, this webinar forms part of a series that ACTS intends to run throughout 2015 and on an annual basis as part of the benefits of being a member of ACTS. In terms of LiFE specifically, we anticipate that we'll be covering some other aspects of LiFE and ecoPortal that will provide some further insight at different levels to suit, I guess, members' level of familiarity and maturity in dealing with the LiFE system. In terms of the state of play with LiFE both in Australia and internationally, you might be interested to know that there's approximately 10 institutions across Australasia now who are using LiFE, and at least 4 of these have very much built their sustainability strategies around LiFE, so it really forms a critical part of their programs. Internationally, there's approximately 72 institutions, particularly in the UK, who are using LiFE to different extents as part of their sustainability campaigns. In terms of introductions, today we have presentations from Adam Connell, who most of you are probably familiar with. Adam is in the role of Manager Environment at James Cook University, and James Cook is, I guess, reasonably well progressed along the LiFE journey. They adopted the tool or the index back in 2012, and it very much forms an integral part of JCU's sustainability strategy. So Adam will be providing some insights to their experiences with LiFE. We'll also hear from Manuel Sedel, who is the director and co-founder of ecoPortal. Manuel has several years' experience consulting in the sustainability industry across a broad range of sectors such as government, industrial and small business. And I think it's quite pertinent to also note that given the current World Cup for cricket, disclose that Manuel is actually a Black Caps fan, so we'll try not to hold that against him. In terms of intended outcomes for the session, we hope to improve members' understanding and familiarity with the LiFE index, acknowledging that most of you have probably had some interaction and background to it in the past, but hopefully we can build on that. We'll provide exposure to a current and working example of how LiFE is currently being applied within an Australian institution, that being at JCU. We'll provide an opportunity to further unpack some of the pros and cons of adopting LiFE at your own institution, and we really want to provide a clear understanding of what the ecoPortal system can offer, because I think that's probably something that'll be quite new to a lot of people at this session today, and provide some insight into how ecoPortal can enhance the implementation of LiFE and the holistic integration of sustainability at your institution. So just very quickly, in terms of the run sheet for today, we've generally allowed 20 minutes for presentations and then 5 minutes for dedicated Q&A, but acknowledging that there is an opportunity to raise questions as the speakers are presenting if it's really pertinent to raise it at that time. So we'll have Adam speaking first up. He'll talk for 20 minutes, and then we'll have 5 minutes of Q&A, and then that'll be followed by Manuel, and again with 5 minutes of Q&A after that. And then we'll just have a quick wrap up and provide some direction on next points of contact for those that are interested in finding out more or organising presentations and the like directly with their own institutions. So that's enough from me for the moment. I'll now introduce Adam and hand over to him to run through his part of the presentation. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Ed. I'll just get this presentation up and running. So I'm going to talk today, this is a presentation I gave at the ACS conference last year in November, and it's just an abridged version of that, probably a bit shorter than if anyone saw that presentation. And I'm talking about how we have implemented LiFE at James Cook University and sort of the journey that we've gone on through that implementation. And to let you know, we never had an ecoPortal there, so we've done it from scratch from the original LiFE index. And I'll just go through a bit of a history and a bit of a background on JCU and what we've got in place in regard to sustainability. So we have a formal commitment to sustainability, and we probably have pretty good support from the top down in terms of sustainability. We have a strategic intent that says we're committed to the principles of sustainability. We have a JCU Code of Conduct that has a principle in there that says embrace sustainability and social responsibility. Within our university plan, development more sustainably is a key theme. We have a Sustainability Advisory Committee, which is basically looks after governance, leadership and high-level decision-making on sustainability and reports directly to our Vice-Chancellor. Under that, we have a Sustainability Action Group, which looks at more meaningful actions across the university and consists of key staff members that are in positions to make a difference. And that membership is closely linked to the LiFE index structure, and we'll probably progress that even more this year. And we have TropEco, which is our sustainability program, and that's looking at engagement and behaviour change with staff and students, and it's primarily facilities oriented, but we're expanding that scope each year. So a bit of a history on how we've gone in terms of sustainability. 2011 was really the first year we actually looked at sustainability as a key focus for the university. So we launched a TropEco program there, and there was a lot of ad hoc sort of work going on, but no sort of coordination happening. So in 2012, we formed our Sustainability Advisory Committee and action groups. And we also adopted the LiFE index, but we didn't really do much with it in 2012. Both committees saw the benefits of the LiFE index, so we brought that in. But it wasn't until late 2013 we started doing some benchmarking with the LiFE index across all the frameworks. And I'll go through the frameworks and how that works in a minute. We also have a sustainability triennium plan which was developed, which is basically an operational plan that we develop for all divisions within the university, both academic and operational. So that sort of sat alongside the LiFE index, but there's a lot of links we can develop between the LiFE index and our triennium plan. That got delayed due to restructuring of the university, so it's now been postponed to 2016, 2018, and we'll start working on that in the middle of this year. So each division will develop a triennium plan related to sustainability going forward. And we also, in 2014, started on our LiFE index strategic planning. After we'd done the benchmarking, we moved on to strategic planning under all frameworks. And 2015, 2016, we expect the LiFE index action plans to commence in conjunction with our triennium plan. So I'll just talk very quickly about the triennium plan, and I will skip through a few of these slides fairly quickly to make sure we stay on time. But the triennium plan has all divisions need to develop a 3-year sustainability plan, and we have a broad set of guiding principles that guide the development of priority actions. The LiFE index action plans will inform the specific priority actions we need to look at for each division, and these plans will be reviewed and updated each year. So our Sustainability Advisory Committee will review each plan, make sure it's up to standard and that the actions are being met. And this is to ensure sustainability is the responsibility of all. I guess it's important to build that culture of sustainability within an institution. and it can't just be left up to a sustainability office or a staff member to implement that. So these are the guiding principles. I won't go through these. I'm just going to touch on that these link very closely to the LiFE Index, and they will link to one or more frameworks, and they're quite high-level sort of guiding principles, and then we develop specific actions from these guiding principles. So now I'll start talking about LiFE. Why do we choose LiFE as an institution? We saw the benefits during the development stage, and I was involved in a small part in terms of developing LiFE with the workshops that we had early on. And it's developed by experts in our field, so it makes sense to go with this system. It breaks sustainability down into its elements, and it makes it a lot more manageable across the institution. So you can allocate responsibilities and leaders for priority areas, frameworks and activity areas within the LiFE Index. And it allows you to focus action on specific areas. It can be communicated simply and easily to general staff and students. So using especially the ecoPortal framework, it's very easy to get on there and show people how that works and how it fits into what they're doing within the institution. And it has, the main focus for us was an internal benchmarking functionality, so we could benchmark ourselves and measure progress over time in all areas. It helps to build a culture of sustainability within an organisation. If people are familiar with the framework of the LiFE Index, that gets stuck in their head and they understand where we're going. And it appealed to senior management, so our Sustainability Advisory Committee was highly impressed with that structure. And it also brings coordination to a lot of ad hoc activities that were happening. So the LiFE Index, I expect most people here are familiar with it, but I'll just quickly go over. We have the priority areas, which are the 4 pieces of the pie. And then out on the outside, we have all the frameworks that hang off the priority areas. And then underneath that, within each framework, you have 8 activity areas, and this is consistent across all the frameworks with the exception of procurement. So we have policy and strategy and action planning, which are the sort of the 2 main important activity areas. We have stakeholder engagement, measurement, communications, training and support, implementation, and links to the curriculum. So it's important to know what the definitions of each of these activity areas are, because sometimes they can be a bit confusing. You really need to have everyone on the same page when they're working under these areas. So policy and strategy and action planning are sort of the 2 key areas, and then stakeholder engagement, measurement, communications, training and support link back to how you develop your policy and strategy and your action planning. And then implementation links to the curriculum, I think, are self-explanatory. Again, I'll make this presentation available to anyone that wants to have a look at it. So if I skip through it too quickly, I'm happy to provide it at the end of the session. So then we went on to the benchmarking process. So we gathered information on all known activities that we were doing at the university under each framework and activity area. So this is a really big task, and we did this without having the benefit of ecoPortal. We did this as an Excel spreadsheet, and it's quite a monster of a spreadsheet. So we did a desktop review with input from the SAC and the SAG members. We did some targeted consultation where we didn't have enough input from our members on the committees. That was especially in School of Education and our commercial office. The information was added into each framework and activity area into the Excel spreadsheet, and then we rated at each activity area based on the benchmarking review that we'd done. And we rated that using a traffic light system. So red indicated that we'd made little or no progress in the area, and activities are lacking or not sufficient. Orange indicated that we're making some progress in the area, but actions may be isolated or ad hoc, and there's room for improvement. And green indicates that we're currently undertaking best practice, or we're a leader in the area, or it may also indicate that we've taken a coordinated approach to this area and we have strong policies, procedures, and/or practices in place. And just for your information, the new LiFE Index with ecoPortal uses the same colour rating system, so you can rank yourself within ecoPortal using this sort of system. So this is how it looked, and I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail here, but you can see implementation is probably one of our strengths. We had a lot of green in that area, which shows we were doing a lot of things, but it was on an ad hoc basis. We were performing poorly in links to the curriculum, and especially in procurement, we really needed to improve in those areas. So policy and strategy and action planning needed to improve, and these were largely improved, and they were orange rather than red due to our sustainability triennium planning process. Measurement was relatively weak, and we could improve that through triennium planning reporting and action planning process. But this obviously needed more effort and thought. And stakeholder engagement was improved due to the existence of our Sustainability Advisory Committee and action groups, and their consideration of policy, strategy and action plans. And we found that there was quite a lot of communication activity happening, but it was on a project by project basis, and there was no coordination of a communication strategy or communication of our strategy. So then we went on, once we'd done the benchmarking, and did some strategic planning. So what we did is we got key stakeholders together to participate in focus workshops and develop a strategic plan under each framework. Usually we could group several frameworks into one workshop because they were relevant to the people, the stakeholders we got together. And this encouraged ownership of the plan from the relevant areas within JCU. So it got a lot of stakeholders in, and they got an understanding of what LiFE Index was, and then worked on strategic directions for their frameworks. So we developed priority actions from the LiFE Index frameworks, and these will complement the Sustainability Triennium Plan and other planning documents going forward. And the benchmarking ratings helped inform priority areas for action. So where we had red areas, obviously they were priorities for moving forward. And it helped us to identify low-hanging fruit and get some early wins on the board. So this slide just shows some of the key stakeholders that we identified for each of the priority areas, and it's really important to write these down and work out who your key stakeholders are, because you need to get them involved and you need to get them on board to drive that culture of sustainability. And the LiFE Index really helps do that. So my point at the bottom there, look for people who are willing to help and can have influence in their area. So it's really important that people are on board and are willing to help. You don't want to drag them kicking and screaming if they don't want to be involved. And this is a bit just an example of what one of the frameworks looked like out of our workshop. So I won't go into this in detail, but basically we had each of the action areas and we developed 1 or 2 dot points under each area in how we can move forward. And then that would then feed into a wider action plan for that framework. So some of the outcomes, we got wide stakeholder engagement, and that saw marked changes even before the official planning processes have started. We found that we're already building a culture of sustainability literacy and action using LiFE. People can see a consistent process and people are coming on board. Senior management support LiFE as they can see it broken down into manageable pieces. We've already seen subtle changes happening across the university as understanding develops of where we're headed. And sustainability is becoming the norm in planning processes. People are embedding it within their own planning in their own divisions and areas. But we need to continue to benchmark to identify our progress over time. And if we went back and did the colour rating system again, I think we'd see that has improved significantly since we did that in 2013. So the challenges we've seen, initially convincing the university executive to commit to LiFE, although that was fairly easy for us, but I'd expect in some institutions that would be quite a challenge. Getting the right stakeholders on board at the same time, it's really difficult to get especially senior management together at the same time. So that's one of the key challenges that you need to break down and get through. Breaking sustainability down into something people can understand and work towards, the LiFE Index really does that well. Collating the benchmarking information from all areas of the institution. This is a big challenge because you're basically working off the whole institution, and you need to work out who your best contacts are in all areas when you do that benchmarking. Getting others to allocate time to LiFE is difficult. A lot of people think it's just something for the sustainability officer or the sustainability office and don't want to put a lot of time into that. So you need to find out a way that people can start working on that and helping you. And sourcing funding and resourcing towards work on priority areas identified from the benchmarking was a challenge. So the last slide I've got is just touching on ecoPortal, and Manuel will talk about that in a lot more detail in a sec. But we've taken on ecoPortal and we haven't done a lot of work in there at this stage, but we can see the there's huge benefits there, and it would have made our job a lot easier if we had have had that when we started using LiFE. So it'll allow us to assign roles and responsibilities to members on our sustainability action group and others that align with the LiFE frameworks. It'll avoid double handling of information, such as our Excel spreadsheets and documents and silos of information, because all the data can be uploaded at once to the one system, and everyone can see that who's logged into the system. We can run meetings using the ecoPortal system as a live platform, and we intend to run our Sustainability Advisory Group meetings using ecoPortal live during those meetings. It's easy for us to produce reports for management, which saves a lot of time. All the information that you put into LiFE, into ecoPortal, you can then basically generate a report from that. And we can easily communicate LiFE to others with live demonstrations, such as the university executives, students, and other stakeholders. So that's about it from me. I'm happy to take questions now if there are any.
Thanks, Adam. Just Ed here again. So just before I throw the floor open, one comment that I think particularly resonated for me around your selection or your rationale for going down the path of LiFE was, I guess, the credibility of the tool, given the development involving, you know, a large number of stakeholders and experts from our field, and also the structured approach that it provides to sustainability improvement. I've had the opportunity to run the leadership framework with our Senior Executive Committee at Charles Sturt University, which is essentially comprised of our Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellors, and a couple of other very senior managers. And they really, I think, aligned and appreciated the fact that it broke quite an unwieldy and challenging task into bite-sized chunks and provided some logical structure about how to go about it. And that I could see light bulbs starting to go on, and I think it's assisted in increasing their confidence around how the tool will flow into other frameworks and other parts of the university. So yeah, really good point that you raised there. I'll now open the floor up. Do we have any questions from other participants, please?
Just a note, we haven't had any questions come through being typed. Oh, hang on. No, we've got Colin Hocking has raised his hand. So, Colin, I'm just going to unmute you. Colin, do you want to ask your question directly?
Yeah, thanks for that. That's interesting. The area that falls down most is in the curriculum area. So I'm just wondering what JCU's experience is in getting action in curriculum, and to what extent that's flowed out of LiFE, of actually strategizing around, you know, the LiFE planning process.
Yeah, that's a good question, Colin. And we have found a lot of barriers in that area, but thankfully we have quite a few high-level academic people on our Sustainability Action Advisory Committee. So they've sort of taken on that area to develop sustainability within the academic side, but we haven't really progressed that a huge amount to this date. They're looking at bringing in possibly a whole of university first year subject for sustainability, and embedding sustainability within all our courses as well. That's still in the early stages and it needs a lot of work, but that's the early plans for how we're going to move that forward. But it is certainly a difficult area, especially when a lot of the people are working on sustainability come work in the operational side of the university. Getting those stakeholders on board is really important. So I guess having them on a committee and finding some academics that really understand what we're talking about in terms of sustainability and developing that into the curriculum is important.
Just a comment from me. It's Ed here again from CSU's, Colin. So I think one of the benefits, I referred to the leadership workshop that I had the chance to run with our Senior Executive Committee, and as you're probably aware, it does provide the linkages back to curriculum. I mean, the curriculum component is linked through just about every framework in the LiFE Index. So that very much brought to the fore the gaps that existed at CSU with the likes of a newly incoming Deputy Vice-Chancellor academic who up until that point I think was not really aware of the fact that we still had a lot of work to be done in that space, despite the fact that there had been some commitments made and some, I guess, some nods towards graduate learning outcomes and common deliverables across the range of courses offered through CSU, but it provided, you know, that opportunity directly with that most senior manager who is responsible ultimately for driving these kind of outcomes to realise that there was a bit of a gap there, which was acknowledged and agreed to by other members of the senior executive. So I think the sheer fact that it's built into every aspect of the tool helps to reinforce time and time again that curriculum is one of the most important parts of holistic integration of sustainability.
Thanks.
Great, thanks for your question, Colin. I'll just move on to the next one because we've had a couple come through being typed. So we have one from Idris who says, "How do you overcome funding hurdles?"
That's a good question, but I think you need to have a strong, robust plan in place, which the LiFE Index can help you to develop to show that the funding is relevant. It's really important to show that you're going to get benefits. The university executives still talk in money terms, and if you can show a cost benefit as well as an environmental benefit or a social benefit, then you're going to have a much more chance of attracting funding. But really having that structure in place and saying this is where we're going, these are our priority areas, and giving key specific projects and initiatives that you want to take on, and knowing what that's going to cost and what benefits you're going to get out of that is important. So I guess LiFE really helps you to develop that and identify what those priority areas are so that you can then take that case to senior management.
Thanks, Adam. The next question comes from Julie O'Brien, and she says, "It may be in the presentation, but how many SAGs are there, and what is the breakdown of what they focus on? Are these aligned directly to the categories in LiFE?"
Yep, so we have a sustainability action group which has members from across the university. At the moment it's not directly linked to LiFE, but this year we'll be looking at that membership, and we've got a meeting next week to look at that membership, and we want to have a member that links up to at least one or more frameworks within LiFE so that we cover every single framework that's within LiFE. We're pretty close to doing that at the moment, but it just, I think the LiFE Index structure is great because it covers the whole university and it covers what you need to do with sustainability across the university. And if you can have someone that has that as their responsibility for each framework, it takes the load off, say, your sustainability officer or anyone else that's having to manage LiFE, and puts that responsibility back on that person, and that those people are working in the area of that's their discipline area, so they can then go back and work with people in their area and embed sustainability with their staff members. So it just spreads out the load and helps people work on sustainability in their area of expertise.
Great, thanks, Adam. I think we've got time for one more quick question. It comes from Walter, and he asks, Ed might be able to help on this one, are there any links between LiFE and international standards such as ISO, or are they easily compatible?
Ed, did you want to say anything on that?
I guess my comment would be that the links are not explicit, as in you won't pull up part of a framework within LiFE and find reference to particular international standards. It will talk more generally about the process of ensuring that there's alignment at a national and international level around relevant legislation or good practice standards. But it does also raise, I think, an important question, which is one that comes up quite frequently around the interaction not only with international standards but with other reporting frameworks such as GRI as an example, but I guess locally we hear references or questions being raised around TEFMA, the Tertiary Education Facilities Management Association reporting framework, and also NGERS, the National Greenhouse and Energy Reporting Scheme. So I mean, Adam, can I throw that back to you? Do you have any comments on how you're seeing LiFE interacting with some of those other reporting frameworks that do exist?
Yeah, I see LiFE as complementary to those. I don't think they particularly link up. A lot of those, like TEFMO and things like that, are focused primarily on facilities by themselves, whereas LiFE is a lot broader and it covers all areas of the university's operations. It's more of a quantitative tool for benchmarking and then taking action, whereas the other ones are more reporting and external reporting tools. And they may give you good information, but they don't really help with that action planning side of things and building a culture within an institute. And that's where I see LiFE as beneficial, is helping to build that culture and everyone going down the same path and understanding what sustainability means across an institution and where we need to focus on areas for action.
Thanks, Adam. And Manuel might be able to address that to some extent in the discussion around the flexibility of ecoPortal, I suppose, and setting up reporting structures within ecoPortal that will assist you with some of that reporting functionality if you've made existing commitments to GRI or TEFMA, for example. Do we have any further questions for you? Sorry, Manuel.
That's all right. I was just going to jump straight into it, but if there's further questions, I'm more than happy to wait my turn.
No, that's fine. Go ahead, Manuel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, thanks, Ed, for that introduction, and thanks also to Adam for sharing those insights around the way in which you've implemented the LiFE Index at James Cook University. I'm personally really excited about this partnership between ACTS and ecoPortal. I think, as Adam mentioned, there's between LiFE and ecoPortal, there's some real complementary elements that both of the tools were developed to enhance the culture and the engagement of sustainability programs within organisations. And I think as a combined package, there's a real potential for a really strong offering to tertiary sustainability programs across Australia and New Zealand. So that's fantastic. James Cook University has gone through a very visual approach, and Adam mentioned the cultural change that they're going through, and I agree that this is really vital to create interest and engagement across a university or tertiary sustainability program. And actually that's what we've focused on right from the start with ecoPortal, so that's really good to see. Before I jump into a brief demonstration around ecoPortal, I just wanted to give a little bit of background as to how we started. So ecoPortal was founded by 5 engineers and sustainability experts, and we had experience in implementing sustainability programs across a range of organisations, so both in the tertiary sector but also within industry. And in that time we saw some of the typical challenges that organisations face on their sustainability journey, and we wanted to develop a tool that helps organisations move beyond compliance and box ticking and the bureaucracy side of things to, I guess, create real and meaningful change within the organisations that we worked with. So one of the big challenges that we see within the tertiary sector is the sheer complexity and the multiple drivers. So tertiary institutions are there firstly to create and develop young minds and new knowledge. Secondly, they engage and support the local community. They've also got business responsibilities. And finally, they provide a hive of activity with the potential for both negative and positive environmental and social impacts. And so these 4 areas have been embedded and reflected within the priority areas of the LiFE Index, which Adam talked about. But 2 problems immediately present themselves. Firstly, how do you engage with the different stakeholders who need to be involved in these areas? And secondly, how do we manage the information and the data related to these activities? And this is exactly what ecoPortal was designed to address. So if you haven't already if you haven't already got the picture, ecoPortal is a sustainability management and collaboration platform, and it allows different stakeholders to come together to support the institution in measuring, managing, and reporting sustainability performance. And well, any person within your institution can be invited to join your sustainability program on ecoPortal. And each person has their own role to play. So depending on what your role is within the organisation, whether you're a student or a staff member or a member of the sustainability team or someone from senior management, that's going to determine your level of permission in terms of what you can see, what you can edit, and what you get notified by. So depending on your license that you choose within the LiFE offering that we've made available, you can either have 10 people that you invite, 30 people, or an unlimited number. So there's 3 packages, and I can talk more about that at the end of the presentation. So essentially, we invite them via email, and they get a notification, and then they get the access level that their role entitles them to. So within the partnership with ACTS, we've pre-populated ecoPortal with the LiFE index, and obviously Adam gave a really good overview of the LiFE index, and I just want to unpack what that actually means in the context of ecoPortal. So obviously we've got 4 priority areas. So these are the outside segments of the wheel. Within those priority areas, we've got a number of different frameworks, and within the frameworks, we've usually got 8 activity areas, and obviously we've then got best practice indicators which feed into that. And you can almost think of this hierarchy as like a book, which has multiple chapters, and obviously then there's sections within those chapters and also paragraphs, and there's links between those areas. So within ecoPortal, whether it's a priority area, a framework, an activity, or a best practice indicator, they all have a page for themselves, and each page can have content and permissions and other elements to it. So I'm just going to dive straight into a page here, and I've clicked on the Facilities and Operations page. And as I mentioned, we can have a range of different types of content on the page. So we've got some text content up the top here which describes what this priority area is all about. And now we've got another dashboard here which might be, well, looks very similar to what Adam showed previously in his presentation. And this gives you a high-level overview of how you're performing against the various frameworks within this particular priority area. And again, we've taken that traffic light system that Adam mentioned because the visual approach is really important to get that cultural change going that Adam mentioned. So with the traffic light system and all the other areas within ecoPortal, we've tried to make it as visual, intuitive, and user-friendly as possible. What we're trying to do is engage those people that aren't necessarily sustainability experts within the institution, but need to be involved to actually really make meaningful change within the sustainability program. Obviously, we know those people are time poor, and we know that we need to get them involved, and the visual element is something which, in my experience, really captures people. Obviously, text is important as well, but yeah, the visual element is critical in my opinion. So you can do that via various charts. You can have photographs and YouTube videos, files, and checklists and references to other areas of your sustainability program. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating a interlinked web of different elements of your sustainability program that have got some kind of relationship. So let me just dive a little bit deeper into one of the activity areas. So I'm going to just click on the action planning activity area for the energy framework. And again, we've got a page here that opens up which has some more content on it. This one describes the activity area. And you can see at the top of the screen here we've got an orange indicator which indicates we've made a little bit of progress in this particular area. And that orange light is driven by the orange light of the relevant best practice indicator. So at the moment this is orange as well. If this turns green, that in turn makes this activity area green as well. So I'm just going to dive one level deeper again into the best practice indicator. Relating to this energy framework, and you can see we've made a little bit of progress here. We've linked to some targets that are related. We've uploaded our energy plan, but so far we haven't made a huge amount of progress with that. But hopefully this gives you an idea of how the LiFE index is structured within ecoPortal. But in reality, we might want to see the information in slightly different ways. So we might want to look at it from a different perspective. So for example, these registers on the side here have been developed so that you can easily filter the information that you're looking for. So it might be that your Vice Chancellor comes to you and says, you know, what are we doing about carbon? So I can type carbon into the search bar at the top here, and this filters the content for the carbon search term. So you can see now we've got 11 search results out of the 236 best practice indicators that are there altogether. And it might be now that I want to find more information, or I might want to filter it by the state. And so in this case, I want to see the orange light best practice indicators. So I've just clicked on that. Now we've filtered that down to 3 areas. And I may even want to filter that a little bit further and say I want to see the best practice indicators that are, for example, related to the sustainable ICT framework. And now I've found the one that I'm looking for. So I can now click on that area, and as you've already seen with the other pages that I've showed you so far, there's a consistent approach to it. We can add different types of content. In this case, we've got some content at the top. We've added some targets, some documents, and related links. And as a diligent sustainability manager should do, we've prepared this content already. But obviously, as Adam mentioned, we can't do this all on our own. So we really need to engage the rest of the organisation. In this particular case, the ICT team within this particular area. So next time I change some content on ecoPortal, it might be that I want to have the the ICT team being notified about changes that I've made. So what I can do is I can invite the ICT team to join this, and I want them to be able to edit this page and also be notified about the changes. If there's changes that are made to the page, they'll get those changes within the dashboard at the top left of the screen, as well as receiving an email about it. So it might be that it says, Manuel has commented on this page or added some more content or anything else. I mentioned at the start we can also change the permissions around who can view what type of content on ecoPortal. So you might want to structure this around your campuses or around the different faculties within your institution, or even the frameworks or the priority areas, such that different user groups can have access to different areas. This is all configurable depending on what you want for your particular institution. So it may well be that I also want to create some events, and events are great because they trigger notifications to users, and they also change the state of the page. In this case, it's an orange light. I might want to have an event called Review ICT Sustainability Policy, and I might want that event to occur tomorrow, as an example, and then every time again within the next 6 months from here on in. So what's going to happen now is every time that event comes about, our ICT team is going to get a notification saying it's time to review the sustainability strategy for ICT, and this is going to change to a red light again. So this is a nice way to get people notified, and obviously with our mythical ICT manager who's really busy managing hundreds of different things and doesn't often find the time to look at the sustainability areas, this is a way in which we can trigger their interaction. So we've created a virtual project management office that sustainability team members, but also the ICT team in this case, can duck into and check out the information, jot down some notes, whatever really helps to move things ahead. So we've designed ecoPortal to help organisations move beyond compliance and to implement sustainability strategy while building the involvement and commitment throughout the organisation, which is again what Adam alluded to. So ecoPortal makes it easy to talk about the different projects that you've got going on in your sustainability program and build interest across the organisation. So we can empower colleagues to take responsibility for leading a particular framework by virtue of their capability to control the official reporting system. So it provides an ideal platform to express ideas, concerns, and even excitement about your initiatives and your achievements. So I mentioned ideas there, and what we've developed within ecoPortal is an ideas hub. And this Ideas Hub allows anyone from across the organisation to share an idea relating to sustainability. So in this particular case, I might be interested in the transport side of things. So I'm going to filter the Ideas Hub by transport ideas, and you can see that we've already got 2 in there. In this case, I might be interested in the office staff carpooling idea. So I've clicked on that now, and you can see that we've got the ability to vote on the idea. So I've already done that. I've got a green light next to the thumbs up there. And I might also want to comment on the idea because I think it's a great idea, so I can do that, and that will send a notification again to the people who are involved in this particular page. Notice also on the right-hand side of the screen here, we've got a log of different activities that have happened on this particular page, so it allows you to capture who's made what changes over a period of time as well. Now again, you can see the different type of content that we've added to this page. So in this case, I've embedded a YouTube video into there, and I've also related a project in the sustainable transportation area to this page as well. So I'm going to just click on that again and delve deeper into the sustainable transportation project. Again, we've got an overview of what the project's all about. We've got some related targets. I can create checklists for the milestones, related documents, and also images again, keeping in mind that content is key in making things visual, user-friendly and intuitive so that people can see the interrelationships between the different elements of your sustainability program. As sustainability managers, you'd probably want to do everything yourself, but as we all know, it's not possible in a really complex organization like a university, and we need to engage the people so that they take into account sustainability issues and initiatives in their day-to-day work. Another thing that's come up in our interactions with sustainability managers across the tertiary sector, but also industry as a whole, is that we've found that there's a lot of focus on reporting, and obviously this is an important element of a sustainability manager's role, but it's one that's really time-consuming and one that isn't often a lot of fun. And so what we've done with ecoPortal is that we've, because our clients are housing all their content around sustainability under the one roof, they're able to really easily create reports that they can use for various purposes. So in the context of the LiFE partnership with ACTS, we've created a pre-populated report here that can be updated or updates automatically as the content within the system updates. And we can share that report to the various stakeholders and obviously print it to PDF and do all that kind of stuff as well. Now, depending on what license you decide to go for, you can also choose to have customized branding that suits your particular institution and create report templates that suit your particular purpose. So it may be that you want to do a sustainability report or a monthly senior management report or a carbon report or whatever type of report you might like. This can be configured to suit your particular requirements. I'm just looking at the time here and realize that I'm quickly running out of time. But just before I wrap things up, I guess the message that that I've got to put forward is we've had a lot of discussions with the sector and with the key stakeholders here, and we've found that there's obviously a range of different challenges that sustainability programs in universities and tertiary institutions are facing around resourcing and engagement with the diversity of people that need to be involved. And this is actually why we've developed ecoPortal and why the partnership with ACTS is such a good one. It's about having all the information under one roof. It's about managing data and sharing your stories and referencing materials and everything that you need to have related to your sustainability program. So we're really excited and committed to this partnership with ACTS. And I guess another thing that I just wanted to briefly touch on is that we've got a whole range of different users that are using ecoPortal, and to this point so far, our whole product is developed based on our interactions with the industry and with real sustainability experts. And so what we've done is we've taken into account that feedback, and we've developed it. It's a continual improvement journey with ecoPortal, very similar to a sustainability program. You've always got to move things forward, and that's why it's been really great to work with the ACTS team, because already in our short partnership we've made a range of different changes, and it's fantastic that all our clients get to benefit from those changes that we've made based on the feedback of our clients. So really looking forward to this partnership, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you an overview of ecoPortal. I'll pass back to Rhiannon now to see whether there's any questions.
Great, thanks Manuel. Just to kick off the questions then, maybe you have some input into the earlier one we had about the integration of things like ISO 14001 and ENGAS and TEFMA through the in the LiFE index through ecoPortal.
Yeah, so I think there's, as Adam mentioned, there are some good synergies between LiFE and those other frameworks. Obviously LiFE has been developed specifically for the tertiary sector, which I think is fantastic. I think it's important that we look at sustainability from a holistic perspective. It's not just about the facilities and the environmental side of things. It's about a broader context. So I think that's something that LiFE brings that those other frameworks don't necessarily have. But that being said, I think there are strong synergies around other frameworks and other systems that you can have, like the ISO 14001 side of things. Obviously, that's a generic standard for management system implementation, but it fits really well with ecoPortal. And you can almost think of, and also with LiFE as well. So think of LiFE as almost the front end strategic elements, and ISO 14001 as the management system that allows you to actually implement LiFE, and ecoPortal has those same interaction. So we've got clients that use ecoPortal for ISO 14001. They might have their internal strategy. Obviously we've got LiFE clients as well, and clients that use ecoPortal for sustainability reporting around the GRI. So I think there's a real benefit of acknowledging the interactions between these various frameworks. They're not all separate things. We don't want to create silos between these different schemes and certifications. There's no benefit in that. I think actually that takes a lot more time if you've got a report for all these different areas. But obviously, because you're already capturing all that data and all the information around your initiatives, that information is useful for all those different reporting schemes and all those different certifications that you can have within your organisation. So hope that answers that question.
Thanks, Manuel. We have the next questions from Rex, and he says, ecoPortal has planning, management and reporting functions. Does it or will it have live data dashboard reporting functions?
Well, it does have some live data dashboard functions, but that is currently not being offered within the LiFE Acts partnership. So when you say live, I think you mean automated data coming through utilities. We're not offering that, but you obviously have the ability to upload historic data to ecoPortal. But to answer your question, we don't do the live reporting side of things or the live data capture within the context of this particular partnership with ACT, but we can offer that to a broader audience of clients, and we are doing that in other areas. So yeah, we do offer it, but not within this particular program.
Great, thanks. The next one comes from Sue. Sue asks, will ecoPortal allow for case studies, good news stories to be recorded across the Institute in different or multiple priority areas of EFS and operational sustainability?
Absolutely. So you can have those stories captured under your different areas or your different pages within ecoPortal. We can, depending on option you choose, and we can have other types of pages. So where you see projects and targets, you can have case studies and stories as well, and you can have pages for that where you can have that content on there, like the photographs and the YouTube videos and any other type of content that you want to have. So that's certainly part of the offering if you choose to go with the Engage package of ecoPortal. So that's a good question. Thanks for that.
Okay, that's it as far as the typed questions at the moment. So I'll just throw it out there if anybody else has anything they wanted to ask. Oh, hang on, we've got one from Colin again. He says, can you embed links to other sites, for example, within an institution or outside?
Yes, you can. So you can create links on any page of ecoPortal by adding those links via text fields, and obviously within a particular organisation, you might refer to an intranet that staff have access to, and obviously those links can be embedded into ecoPortal so that you can cross-reference between the two. So yes, and I think that's a really good question, because a lot of organisations that we work with have got existing systems in place, and it's important that we go through those normal communication channels and interact with them. And so yeah, that's certainly something that's possible.
Excellent. Thanks, Manuel. Again, if we've got a couple of minutes, so if anybody has any additional questions, please send them through or raise your hand and we can unmute you.
Ree, it's just Ed here again, and I think Manuel's done a fantastic job in covering some key features and hopefully brought to life the power of ecoPortal for some of the people in the seminar today. I think something that really appeals to me, and I think particularly in the context of curriculum, is the fact that ecoPortal provides a platform for institutions to customize the LiFE framework very much to their own institution. So by its very nature, LiFE needs to be generic enough, obviously, to be relevant to institutions right around the world. The ability for ecoPortal is for I guess sustainability managers or leaders against any of the LiFE frameworks within an institution to take that a step further and start building in customized checklists, or, as we've talked about, cross-linking of information basically in any possible form, whether it exists on an existing website, whether it's a PDF, an existing document, a video, directly at the point where people are going to be looking for it. So there's a logical structure in LiFE so that those responsible for delivering education for sustainability and curriculum will navigate to a particular part of the system, and then they will be steered towards a multitude of information, basically only limited by the time invested by those also working at the institution to share that information. So I think it's got a fantastic opportunity to open up those silos that we know exist, particularly across schools and faculties at a particular institution, where there's probably a lot of synergies and a lot of avoiding of reinventing the wheel that may be available.
Thanks, Ed. We've had a couple more questions come through. So Sue asks, is there an export capability to draw all information together for reporting across the different areas?
Yeah, there is. So within the reporting function, obviously you can report on whatever you want. So essentially, you're tagging the content that you want to have within that report, and you're able to print that report to PDF and export that to PDF. But you can also export content across or out of your different registers here. So I showed before how we can filter those registers based on some key areas that we want to focus on. So it might be that I want to filter it by a particular framework or a particular campus performance or whatever else. I can then export that content to Excel, for example, so that you can see the search results that come up for a particular area that I'm filtering around. So there's a number of different opportunities to export the content out depending on what you want.
Great, thanks, Manuel. I've got a general question that's come through from Colin. So he says, is there some way that we or ACS or others can extract individual institution information within their agreement to generate multi-institutional reports on how we are progressing overall as a sector? So
Just a very good question. Yeah, it's a great question and a fantastic idea. So at this stage, we've discussed this with ACTS, and I think in the future there certainly would be some value in looking at something like that. So far we've had, I think, 4 institutions sign up to the LiFE ecoPortal offering in the short space that we've offered it. But obviously, as we get more tertiary institutes across the sector onto the platform, it would make real sense to try and get some trends and some real insights into how the sector as a whole is progressing. So that's certainly something that we can look at. At the moment, each organisation that signs up to ecoPortal is a standalone offering that only people within that sector can, within that organisation can look at. But I certainly take your point, and it's something that we've thought about, and there's potential for it. But at this stage, it's not something that we're offering. I think it will make a lot more sense when more people or more organisations get on board, for sure.
Just going back to Sue's earlier question around the reporting, she says, just as a comment, it would be great in future if report structures could be set up and populated periodically. So we have another question from Julie, who asks, can you export to Word as well as PDF so that content can be manipulated to suit organisational reporting templates and requirements?
Sorry, just to go back to Sue's point before I answer the next question, you can actually configure your reports to suit your own template. So you might have institute-specific reports that that you would like to generate, and those reports can be created within ecoPortal. And as I mentioned before, those reports are automatically updated as the content within the system updates as well. So depending on what license you choose, you can decide to create what reports you want that are particular to your organisation. And as I mentioned, they'll update as your content updates. Sorry, Rhiannon, what was the other question? I kind of missed that one.
Sorry, Julie was just asking if the data can be exported to Word so it can be manipulated to suit organisational structures.
So at the moment it can only be exported to PDF, but I think yeah, the Word function sounds like a really good idea. At the moment you can copy and paste or cut and paste it into Word. But we haven't got the export function to Word specifically, but it's certainly something that's technically feasible, but not something that any of our clients so far have asked about, surprisingly, because I think it's a really good idea.
thank you everyone for your participation today. As we mentioned at the start, there will be both the slides and our recording of this webinar made available for future reference, and I guess to share with colleagues and peers that may not have been available to attend this session at the moment. The other thing that we want to point out is that there are avenues for you to seek more information and even you know, one-on-one demonstrations or conversations to find out more both about LiFE and the ecoPortal system and how these might apply to your particular institution. So on the slide in front of you there, which as we mentioned will be circulated following this webinar, you see some contact details for the people that have presented and spoken to today. I'll also point out Jared's contact details at the bottom there. So Jared works closely with ecoPortal and ACTS to provide some direct one-on-one support and introductions to potential institutions that are keen to know more specifically about the ecoPortal tool, and ACTS committee members and executive members will work closely with Jared to provide further context and assistance in questions that relate more generally to LiFE. So hopefully that provides you with some direction on where you can go to next if something today has whet your appetite. And I think what has also been quite apparent from what we've discussed today is the potential power that tools such as LiFE and ecoPortal really start to develop through greater participation and avenues for sharing and cross-referencing of good practice between institutions. So yeah, we might leave it there unless there's any further comments. Thanks again for your participation, and hopefully we'll be able to hear from you soon to provide some more specific information.
Thanks, Ed. I'll wrap up the webinar now and end the session. So thank you again for everybody and all of our presenters today.